Hi, this is Vicky with Learning Home Volunteers. Now that you've made an airplane, no doubt your child will want to control that airplane. Airplanes are actually controlled in the cockpit. In fact, all complicated vehicles have a control center where the pilot controls it, including spaceships, sea ships, fire engines. Well, anyhow, we should definitely make one. And with the new the cardboard materials, we have everything we need to do that. So whether you're controlling a ship, an airplane, a submarine, a fire engine, a police car, a train, a helicopter, a ship, we want to give your child that ability to pilot that vehicle. They will need to prepare a cockpit to help them control the vehicle. And yes, you're going to need all those tools, glue, the bag of materials once again, and maybe some markers and crayons too. You want to choose a large box that can stand for your cockpit. It can be a small box, a big box, but ultimately we're going to need the controls in front of us as the pilot. Cockpits have dials and buttons and gauges to measure speed, fuel, fluids, levers to move flaps, doors, steering, and things that spin or need to be pushed or toggled. Let's take a look at some inspiration for your cockpits. It's always fun to have some inspiration to show that the child things that are already in place to be able to fly planes, for example. These are two pictures of cockpits. The one on the left is a cockpit of a flyer fighter plane that's used to defend the nation. And on the right is a commercial aircraft. Look at all those different instruments that show speed, the horizon, the switches that turn things on and off, and those special ones in yellow and red that are no doubt there just in case of emergency. On the right, we see that the cockpit actually requires more than one person to control the plane, which is why there are two seats and even more levers and buttons to press. And look, the guy on the right even has a cup holder to hold his water in case he gets thirsty. Looks very complicated. Ships are even more complicated still and require many people to navigate the sea. The top picture is a navigation system from a submarine which sails under the water. They don't have roads to drive on and need to find their way using that big yellow dial. I hope they have some GPS. The other two pictures are of navigation systems for cruise ships or cargo ships that bring goods from one place to the other. Look at that bottom picture on the left. There are three people that have to work at the same time to get the ship where it needs to go. So if you haven't been at Learning Home Volunteers on a Saturday, you wouldn't know that we're making the activities that we're going to send to you. We do this to make sure there's enough materials that are included in the box and the item can be completed with the tools that you have at home. All right, facts are is we also do it because it's very fun. For this learning session, Anne, a volunteer who does activity planning, and myself tried to make cockpits. The one on the right is Anne's, and she was inspired how the person was enclosed in a space and surrounded by all the controls, and how many of the buttons and dials look the same. I love the symmetry of her creation and the materials that she chose. For my cockpit, so many of the dials seem shape oriented, though that it might help the user figure out how to control the vehicle. I love the fact that you can color on the white pieces, so I did color on some of those. Both Anne and I know whatever your child creates will be different from ours, as theirs comes from the best place of all creations, play. So please let us see their creations. Post them up on Class Tag.